Okay, so we're going to talk about parallel lines and their equations. So we'll take a look at this first example here. So it says write the equation of the line that contains the point -5, 1 and is parallel to 8x minus y equals 10. Well, we already know a little bit about parallel lines, and what we do know is that parallel lines have the same slope. So if I'm supposed to figure out the equation of this line and it's supposed to be parallel to 8x minus y equals 10, then I better figure out what the slope is of 8x minus y equals 10. So I can see that it's currently in standard form and not in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to get it into slope-intercept form so that I can see what the slope is. So I'm going to get the y by itself by adding y to both sides. So I have 8x equals 10 plus y when I add y to both sides. So now I want it to be y equals, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 from each side, and I have 8x minus 10 is equal to y, or I could rewrite that as y equals 8x minus 10. So having done that, I can see that the slope is 8x. So the slope is 8 because of the 8x. So if the slope of this line is 8, then that means the slope of my parallel line is also 8 because parallel lines have the same slope. So I'm just going to write that the slope of, and I'm just going to use the parallel symbol here, the slope of parallel is also equal to 8. So now I'm going to use slope-intercept form of a line, y equals mx plus b, and I'll substitute in the information that I know. So I know the slope that I want is 8. I don't know the y-intercept, so I know y equals 8x plus b. I do know a coordinate though, and coordinate points, remember, are x then y. So that means I'm going to put 1 in for y and -5 in for x. And I'll solve for b. So 1 equals -40 plus b. So adding 40 to both sides, I'm getting b equals 41. So our equation is y equals, the slope is 8 times x plus 41. So that is the equation for the line that goes through this point and is parallel to this line. Now, I could also use something that you learned in Algebra 1 called point slope. Sometimes point slope's a little easier to use when you have a slope and a point. And point slope, I'll refresh your memory, is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to show the same problem using point slope rather than slope-intercept form. So I'm going to substitute the point in for y1, so the y value is 1. So y minus 1 equals, I'll put the 8 in for the slope, x minus, and then x1 is -5. So when I simplify that, y minus 1 equals 8 times x plus 5, which I can distribute that 8x plus 40, and add 1 to get y by itself, so y equals 8x plus 41. So we have the same equation using point slope as we got when we used slope-intercept form. Either equation is fine, just depends on which you prefer to use. Let's take a look at the next example. So this time we're looking at perpendicular lines and their equations. So this example says write the equation of the line that contains 8, -12 and is perpendicular to 5x minus 10y equals 12. Well, once again, this equation is in standard form and I need it to be in slope-intercept form so that I can see what the slope is. And I'm refreshing my memory here. I'm thinking back. So perpendicular lines have opposite signs and reciprocal slopes. So once I figure out the slope of this line, I will get the reciprocal and change the sign. So we're going to solve this equation for y, which means we're going to subtract 5x from each side, which leaves us with -10y equals -5x plus 12. And then we're going to divide both sides by -10, which gives us y equals negative 5 over negative 10 is positive 1/2 x, and positive 12 divided by negative 10 gives us minus, and then 12/10 simplifies to 6/5. So minus 6/5 is our y-intercept. What I really care about is the slope is positive 1/2. So I want the slope that is perpendicular. So I'll just use my perpendicular symbol. This just means the slope of the perpendicular line. So I'll take the 1/2 and I'll get the reciprocal. And I'll take the positive slope, which was here, and I'll make it the opposite, which is negative. So the slope of the perpendicular line will be -2. So now I'm ready to use either slope-intercept or point-slope form. I think I'll use point-slope. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. So we'll go ahead and substitute in here. The slope we want is -2. X minus x1 will be the x value for the point, so 8. And y minus y1 will be -12. So y plus 12 is equal to, should be an equal sign there, is equal to -2 times x, -2x, and -2 times -8 is positive 16. So let's go ahead and subtract 12 from each side and get it into slope-intercept form. So y equals -2x. 16 minus 12 is positive 4. And that's our equation of the line that's perpendicular to this line and goes through the point 8, -12.